Today, we're diving into a connection that might sound surprising, but is actually incredibly powerful. We're talking about the link between the sunshine vitamin, vitamin D, and menstrual health. And this isn't just some theory, it's backed by a whole wave of recent science. And what it's telling us is pretty remarkable. So let's just kick things off with a big question. Just think about this for a second. What if a key to making some of the most common menstrual health issues a little bit better comes from something as simple and as basic as the sun? It's a really fascinating idea, and it's the core of what we're going to unpack together. Okay, so to really get why this connection is such a big deal, we first have to understand the scale of the problem we're talking about. These aren't rare conditions. They are incredibly common, affecting a huge number of people. I mean, just look at this number. Up to 90%. That's how many menstruating women are affected by what's called primary dysmenorrhea, which is really just the clinical term for period pain that isn't caused by some other underlying condition. That is a massive, staggering figure, and it just goes to show how much we need effective and accessible solutions. All right, so let's bring in our main character, vitamin D. Where does it fit into this whole picture? Let's do a quick refresh on what it is and why our bodies fundamentally need it. So most of us know vitamin D is the bone health vitamin, right? It's what helps our bodies absorb calcium and build strong bones. But what the science is showing us more and more is that its job is way bigger than that. It's involved in everything from our immune system to, yes, our reproductive health. It's a real workhorse in our bodies. And you know, they don't call it the sunshine vitamin for nothing. The reason is right here. A massive 80% of it is made in our skin when it's exposed to the sun. Only about 20% comes from food. And that huge reliance on sunlight, that's a super important piece of the puzzle, and you'll see why in just a sec. And that dependence on the sun leads us right into the next part of the story, a huge global health problem that a lot of people don't even know they have. The fact is, a ton of us just aren't getting enough vitamin D. And let's be super clear here. This is not just an issue for people living in cloudy, northern climates. The data shows this is a full-blown worldwide health concern, and it has some really significant implications. I mean, just look at these numbers for a minute. They kind of speak for themselves, right? In some European countries, the deficiency rate hits a shocking 78%. Even in the US, it's over 41%. This is a problem that cuts across continents, cultures, and climates. So why is this so incredibly common? Well, it's really a combination of things. A lot of us have indoor lifestyles, so we're just not getting as much sun. If you live further from the equator, you get less direct sunlight, especially during the winter. And melanin, the pigment that gives skin its color, is great at absorbing UV rays, which means people with darker skin need even more sun to produce the same amount of vitamin D. You add in other factors like diet, getting older, and certain health conditions, and you've basically got a perfect storm for deficiency. Okay, so let's put the pieces together. We've got this really widespread health issue, menstrual pain, and on the other side, we've got this incredibly common nutrient deficiency. So now, let's connect the dots. How exactly does vitamin D play a role in the menstrual cycle? The list of potential benefits that the research points to is actually pretty amazing. Having enough vitamin D is linked to less period pain and milder PMS symptoms. It also seems to help regulate the cycle itself, support your hormonal balance, and maybe even help with heavy bleeding. It's a surprisingly long and impressive list. This all sounds fantastic, right? But the big question is how? How does it actually work? What's going on in our bodies that makes this connection possible? Let's geek out for a minute on the science because it's genuinely fascinating. So here's the deal. The vitamin D you get from the sun or your food isn't ready to go right away. It's kind of in a dormant state. It has to go through this two-step activation process, sort of like an upgrade. First in your liver and then in your kidneys, to become the final active form your body can actually use. Okay, so once it's active, this is where the magic happens. This active vitamin D molecule goes looking for a special docking station inside our cells called the vitamin D receptor, or VDR. The easiest way to think about it is that the VDR is the lock, and that active vitamin D is the one and only key that can fit into it. And when that key turns the lock, it is a total game changer for the cell. This one action, this binding, influences how over 3,000 different genes in our body work. And here's the kicker, the direct link we've been building up to. These locks, these VDRs, are found all over our reproductive tissues, including the ovaries and the uterus. This gives vitamin D a direct line of communication to help regulate all the processes tied to the menstrual cycle. Okay, so Knowing all of that, the big question is, what can you actually do about it? Let's switch gears from the science to some real practical solutions. Let's build your vitamin D toolkit. So remember, sunlight is the #1 source, but your diet definitely matters too. This gives us some great ideas. Things like fatty fish and fish liver oil are absolutely loaded with it. But there are some other interesting ones, like certain types of mushrooms that have been exposed to UV light, and you even get a tiny bit from dark chocolate. Also, a lot of foods like yogurt are fortified, which is just another great way to boost your intake. Now, for a lot of people, taking a supplement is a really practical way to go, especially if you can't get enough sun. But, and this is a big but, it is all about finding the right balance. The research shows that daily doses under 10,000 international units, or IU, are generally safe. The risk of toxicity really only starts to be a concern at doses higher than that, and you'd have to take extremely high amounts for a long time to see severe effects. And this right here might be the single most important takeaway. The source material puts it perfectly. Talking to a doctor or a healthcare provider is absolutely crucial. Everybody's needs are different, and it depends on your current levels, where you live, your skin tone, all sorts of things. This isn't something to guess at. A professional can help you figure out exactly what you need to do it safely and effectively. So we're ending right that where we started, but hopefully with a whole new perspective. When you think about how common vitamin D deficiency is, and then you see how deeply it's connected to something as fundamental as menstrual health, well, the evidence is pretty clear. Paying a little more attention to our sunshine vitamin could be a simple but really powerful step toward feeling better. It's definitely something to think about.